This is Toronto, Canada's largest city. Here, you will find the CN Tower, the tallest freestanding structure in the world. Toronto is home to the mighty Toronto Maple Leafs. According to the United Nations, Toronto is the most diverse city on the planet. Often called the center of the universe, Toronto is Canada's economic engine. The city is home to Canada's financial industry, its banks, and the media. And that media, in turn, has made Toronto Canada's most famous city.
I hate the Sky Dome and the CN Tower too. I hate Nathan Phillips Square and the Ontario Zoo. The rent's too high, the air's unclean, the beaches are dirty and the people are mean, and the women are big and the men are dumb, and the children are loopy because they live in a slum. The water is polluted and the mayor's a dork. They dress real bad and they think they're New York. In Toronto, Ontario.
As a transplanted Montreal journalist in Toronto, I've always been aware of Toronto's uneasy relationship with Canada, and vice versa. But I've been amazed that Torontonians sometimes have no awareness of it. One such Torontonian is Robert Spence. Spence was shocked when he was watching TV one day and saw a billboard with two words on it: Toronto sucks. Did Toronto really suck? Together, we hatched a plan to cross the country and find out if this was true.
Is this true? Does Canada hate Toronto?
I have to say yes.
Really? People don't like Toronto, huh?
I mean, you don't hear it from anyone else in the world, really, but you do hear it from other Canadians.
I think there's a definite hatred to Toronto around the rest of the country.
Anywhere you go, anywhere outside a 200-kilometer range of Toronto, or make that, 50-kilometer range, none of it, they don't like us.
People run the gamut of emotions, everything from extreme dislike to hatred.
Oh, someone once said that it's a national pastime to give Toronto 5 in the eye.
People just don't like Toronto.
Everybody hates Toronto.
People just really put it down a lot.
People say, oh, so you're from Toronto.
On terrible?
Everyone's mean there, and no one says hi to you on the street.
They're assholes.
Toronto's a buzzkill.
Everybody hates Toronto.
It's the national gravitational force holding our whole country together.
Our story begins in Hamilton, Ontario. This is where the Toronto Sucks billboard actually came from. We arrived just in time for the annual Labor Day Classic, where Toronto and Hamilton and their respective football teams go head-to-head. But here, in the Hammer, it seems that every day is Toronto bashing day.
Someone from Regina once referred to Hamiltonians as professional Toronto haters.
Steve Bunn is a professional Toronto hater. Bunn sells anti-Toronto paraphernalia on a website devoted to celebrating the history of being mad at Toronto. Toronto, says Bunn, is responsible for Hamilton's sometimes sad sack image.
What is the stereotype that Torontonians promote about Hamilton? Low intellect. Back in Toronto, we have jobs and teeth. Do you have teeth? No.
These are the bagmen. They feel that in life, like in sports, Hamilton loses far too much.
I guarantee right now that Toronto will win.
Yeah, so do I.
Touchdown!
Are people in Hamilton ashamed? Is that why you're wearing a bag, sir?
Yes. Touchdown!
I'm a 10-year season ticket holder, and that's a little bit of a shame, so I'm not even going to sit in my seat tonight. That's how much of a shame I am tonight.
Oh dear, the bags are out in Hamilton. These Ticat supporters don't want to be recognized. Touchdown! That is the second touchdown interception of the game.
We don't win, but we like it!
To these Hamiltonians, the system is stacked against them.
Toronto's got the money, right? They've consistently, year after year, thrown literally millions of dollars, all to sort of beat Hamilton on and off the field.
A little country club putt to celebrate.
Okay, so maybe Toronto humiliates Hamilton sometimes. But is it really that bad? Well, everywhere I looked, I could see the Bagmen. And sadder still was a slogan published by the city newspaper. And just as the Bagmen predicted, Hamilton would be demolished by a score of 40-6. Their answer, Toronto sucks.
You know, we go to Toronto, costs too much. The people they're just all sucky, paranoid. We beat them, they get all sucky. They win, they get all sucky. So they're just a bunch of sucks, period. Toronto sucks.
It turns out the Toronto Sucks billboards and protesters were part of a promotional campaign for a Hamilton rock radio station. Toronto bashing, it seems, was being used to get ratings. Apparently it worked. For Mr. Spence, all of this was a bit of a shock, and there was only one thing to do.
How do you address the idea that in the rest of Canada it seems to be a national joke to hate Toronto?
In an unfortunate way it is, actually, because it makes it easier for federal and provincial governments not to support Toronto in the way they should. You know, in my comments today I called for a shield.
I was talking to the mayor of Toronto. I couldn't really understand what he was saying, but I did understand this.
Somebody from the rest of Canada comes and visits Toronto, they become its biggest fan. So I think we should just get everybody here for a weekend and have a great time.
Okay.
But not everybody could come to Toronto for a big party, possibly for financial reasons. So Mr. Spence decided that he could bring Toronto to them.
I'm thinking about doing something that's called the Toronto Appreciation Tour, going across the country to spread the word about how great Toronto is.
I think your idea is a fantastic idea. When 500,000 people were asked which are the top 10 cities they'd like to visit in North America, we didn't even make the list.
Toronto is actually a perfectly reasonable place, probably one of North America's most vibrant cities. And most Torontonians would have no clue why Canadians might be mad at them. But somehow, it seems, Toronto has managed to alienate big parts of Canada.
Do you think that other Canadians hate Toronto?
I think that they don't appreciate it enough for what it is. We've got a great city, we've got a lot of different people, and we need to embrace it a little more.
Robert Spence, like many Torontonians, worked in marketing. And he decided to respond in the only way he knew how, with a marketing campaign.
We need a font that tells the story of Toronto, a world-class font. No, we need something more diverse. Too limp. That is not world-class enough. That looks like a Guelph font. Futura. This font says world-class. We've got the right font, and that's a good start, but we need a slogan. We need a slogan to capture the energy of what I'm gonna do here. No.
Too negative. That is true. Team leader, that's good, I like that.
Toronto is the most multicultural city in the world according to the United Nations Day. Toronto Appreciation Day. Yes! Yeah!
It would be a national Toronto Appreciation Day tour. But who was he? And what was his mission?
Mr. Toronto, I'm a Torontonian who can't believe that the rest of Canada could hate this beloved city of mine. So I'm out on the road. Check me out in a city near you.
Well, you know, I was watching TV one day, and I saw a billboard that says, Toronto sucks. And I was like, you know,
was it spelled
what the
correctly?
Hell?
First stop for Mr. T.O. and Toronto Appreciation Day, The Rock.
Traveling the country on a royal commission of sorts, a fact-finding mission, if you will. And I'm asking the tough questions, such as, do you like Toronto? I brought a gift for Newfoundlanders.
Let's take a look at the gift. Let's take a look.
It's Toronto sludge. And this, my friends, is treated Toronto sewage, also known as biosolids. I'm suggesting to Newfoundlanders, where I know it's tough to farm, there's a lot of rocks, that this can be a great exchange. We send you our biosolids, and you guys
farm with it.
Yeah, I see it.
It's really good. No,
I'm good.
It's a rich, multicultural stew of some of the finest food you can eat in Canada.
What do people think when you come into their town and you're trying to give them shit from Toronto?
I've just arrived here on the Toronto Appreciation Day tour.
Okay.
Hey, honk if you love Toronto!